Hi. So a few days ago, the Tumblr user named Persephone Shadow posted up a story or something that happened to her, an interaction she had with someone who is a fan of Supernatural and who's also puts the label of geek or nerd onto themselves, like most of us do. And he is a he, and said that he didn't think that Dean was bi because he's an engineer and therefore very good at observation. And he also said that Dean is very secure in his masculinity, which puts into question just how good at observation he really is, because I mean, you know, people who know the show, who know Dean at all, know that he's like not secure about just anything at all. Dean is not a secure person. He's not a cool guy. He is a mass of insecurities and self-esteem issues and voices in his head telling him, you know, like he shouldn't be happy, that he can't be happy, that he doesn't deserve happiness, that he should hate himself, that he's never good enough. I mean, like, I've joked a few times that, you know, he has more issues, or maybe just as many issues, as Shinji Ikari. He would totally fit in the roster of Evangelion characters. Right, so Dean is not a secure guy, and even if you don't think he's queer, I think that we can see that in Dean, that he's not a secure person. But I mean, of course, there is evidence in the show to subtext, as well as maybe actual text and visual cues and lines of dialogue and all of that to show us, to make the people who question Dean's sexuality and whether or not he's a queer character. And of course the people who think that Dean is queer are usually, of course, queer themselves, because in all honesty, how often do people think about the stuff they don't think about? And I mean, if you're not queer, or if you're not black, or if you're not Latino, or if you're not a woman, you know, just walk through your life, you live your life, whatever, and you just don't think about how the male gaze could be, you know, off-putting to women, and could, you know, maybe isolate them from a media that they might enjoy, which, you know, is I think a big, you know, talking point about video games right now. Like, more women might enjoy this if they felt more welcome, but this, you know, kind of isolates them and they don't feel welcome, so they don't enjoy video games. And how that's a problem, or if that's a problem, or, you know, all of that. So, you know, yeah, you go through life, you don't think about the stuff you don't think about. And of course, I don't consider myself queer, but, you know, I consider myself, who I hope to be, you know, somebody who tries very hard to be, you know, an empathetic person and to educate myself on these different points of view, because, you know, I think that's important, and that's a worthwhile exercise, maybe the most worthwhile exercise there is in this world, is to try to, you know, put yourself in other people's shoes and try to see what they value and what they value it, how they value it, and then how you can maybe better yourself to see these other things that you didn't see before. But, you know, of course, online there are many essays about Dean's bisexuality and why people think Dean is bi. Lots of Tumblr posts, you know, posts on LiveJournal and other places, but there really isn't, as far as I can see, many video essays or videos in general about, you know, people just sounding off, talking about Dean's sexuality and why they think, you know, Dean is bi, which kind of compels me to be like, maybe I could do this, you know, because I remember a while ago there were quite a few very good, for the most part, video essays about this one girl who was talking about Kirk and Spock in the original series, and why people ship them, like why they look at the material of Star Trek and come to the conclusion that there is something romantic between Kirk and Spock. And one of the reasons why I liked it so much is because the woman doing it seemed to be kind of like, this is why we think what we think, not think this too. If you don't think this, you are a bad person, or you're stupid, or you're not paying attention to the show, because clearly you and your myopic view, you know, of heteronormativity is just like awful and bad. So no, she was just like, this is why we think what we think. So yeah. I'm not sure how I could organize this, or if anybody else wants to be involved in this, or any of that. You know, let's, in the interest of, you know, openness and dialogue, be like, this is why we think Dina's bisexual. You don't have to agree with us, but please look at our evidence enough to know that we're not just making shit up, and please respect our opinion. So yeah. Please be, you know, sharing with your opinion of any idea of how to either organize this, you know, to do it by season or do it by issue. Like, a bunch of people say, well, Dina's said, you know, I don't swing that way, so clearly that means that, you know, he only likes women, you know, and there are, you know, issues to that, you know, that people who think that he's bi, you know, often hear in, you know, the countering voices of this issue. So please, you know, be thoughtful, be sharing. Thank you. Sayonara, auf Wiedersehen.